The establishment left, the regressive left, whatever you want to call these people, the far left. I think the far left isn't entirely fair. But this group, and you know how I'm talking about, the pro-censorship group, are causing harm to actual marginalized groups. Of course, we've seen the backlash over and over and over again, but I'm talking now about Saudi refugees fleeing abuse, and they get suspended on Twitter. Gee, I wonder why. Could it be that a Saudi prince has a massive investment in Twitter? Maybe, maybe not. But there's two stories here I want to focus on. Unhappy with Twitter. Thousands of Saudis join pro-Trump social network Parler. I don't know if you can call Parler a pro-Trump social network, but there are a lot of pro-Trump people on it, and many people are just calling it like Gab or something. But let's talk about this. People who are absolutely fighting against authoritarianism and fighting for civil rights and liberty are being censored on Twitter. Where are the leftists defending the marginalized groups? No. Let me make it clear, if it hasn't been already. These are people who are supporting authoritarianism, are pretending to oppose bigotry, and then in the end do nothing for those who actually need help. So let's read this from Business Insider first. Before we get started, head over to timcast.com/donate if you'd like to support my work. There's a monthly donation option, a crypto option, a physical address, but of course, liking and commenting, sharing and subscribing, all of that engagement tells YouTube I'm a good person and therefore people should watch my good content. Greatly appreciated. Twitter mysteriously suspended several accounts linked to women who say they are refugees fleeing abuse in Saudi Arabia. They say the social network pulled two accounts purporting to belong to Doa, 22, and Dalal al-Shawaiki, 20, who say they ran away to Turkey to escape abuse in their home country. A third account belonging to Saudi activist Ali Hashim was also removed after he posted material on the al-Shawaki sisters' behalf. Over the past week, the runaways posted videos, photographs, and messages in which they described the situation and asked for humanitarian rights organizations to help. In one video on Hashim's Twitter page, Doa said, "My father took our passport and our national identity. He is looking for us now. We are at risk." The video has been republished by the Twitter account Ex-Muslim TV. Business Insider has been, they say Insider, I'm assuming themselves, has been intermittently in touch with the women, but has not been able to verify any details of their story. Their plight has, however, been followed by Detained in Dubai, a campaign group that provides legal assistance to people across the Middle East. The first account linked to the two sisters was suspended on Thursday after 2 days of posting. Two more accounts were set up and removed within hours. After these suspensions, Hashim said he would give the sisters use of his account and posted videos of them speaking, which had not been published before. Later on Thursday, his account was also suspended. Insider has asked Twitter repeatedly over the past 24 hours to explain why it removed the accounts, but has yet to receive an answer. How much? It's simple. It's because Saudi Arabia told them to. Plain and simple. Think about this. And I'll jump off this story. We'll go to the next story and talk about Parler. Google can ban you. Facebook can ban you. Twitter can ban you. Who do you call? Who do you call? They control a massive portion of the advertising economy. They control basically public discourse, at least to a great extent. And they can remove you, and there is nothing you can do to stop them. There's no phone number to call. It is a faceless monolith that controls the Amazon, like the Amazon marketplace is displacing actual stores. They're being shut down. Twitter controlling politics and public discourse. YouTube and Facebook, more so. And who do you call when you have a problem? Sorry, no one. Unless, of course, you're one of these journalists and you have a direct contact for these people, and they'll do whatever you say. But alas, we are seeing the rise of alternatives, and there's still potentially an opportunity to break through this monolith of the tech oligopoly. Parler is one. I use Minds, and you see the Minds logo appear above my head all the time. I post to Minds frequently, and I definitely try to use them more than anybody else. And, full disclosure, I do work with them to some capacity. But there are alternatives, too. There's Parler, there's Gab, there's ThinkSpot, Jordan Peterson's new social media endeavor. It's going to be very interesting. So, in response to the tech monsters, we are seeing a marketplace rebuttal, as it were. The marketplace is now presenting many alternatives. We'll see how Silicon Valley reacts. But let's talk about this, quote, pro-Trump social network Parler, which definitely being used by pro-Trump people. I did sign up. I don't really use it, but... So beyond these two women, we have 200,000 users believed to be from Saudi Arabia who are frustrated at what they say is censorship by Twitter that and have helped to crash the small social media network Parler, which styles itself as a free speech-driven space. The unexpected arrival of the new accounts since Sunday more than doubled the total number of Parler users and crippled some functions, CEO and co-founder John Natz told Reuters. The influx of users has created unusual bedfellows on Parler, which has mostly been a home for supporters of President Donald Trump after starting up a year ago. An analysis by Reuters and Citizen Lab, a Canadian research group, found that many of the new users came from Saudi Arabia. They promoted their use of Parler with hashtags on Twitter, which they accuse of stifling free expression by arbitrarily banning users. The nationalist movement of the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia has made it known that big tech is censoring them at rates we have never experienced in the U.S., Parler wrote in a post on its own account on the site. Let us welcome them as we all fight for our rights together. Twitter declined to comment on whether the platform had taken any new action against Saudi accounts that could have triggered the sudden signups on Parler. It is not clear how many of the new Parler users had stopped using Twitter. Some of the new Parler accounts used the hashtag Twexit or shared cartoons of blue birds in distress using Twitter's logo to suggest the platform's decline. Other users tweeted threats to leave Twitter directly at Chief Executive Jack Dorsey. Saudis are prolific users of social networks, particularly Twitter. The kingdom has Twitter's largest user base in the Middle East, with 11.7 million people on the platform, according to the Arabic social media monitoring firm Crowd Analyzer. Well, let me say this. I believe there is one really good reason why a Saudi prince bought a decent chunk of shares in Twitter. The Arab Spring. Twitter was a massive tool for sharing the discontent and rallying people to protest. Sure enough, many some individuals bought into some of these social media firms, and now we see angry activists and otherwise being censored. I wonder why. It certainly does protect the national, authorities of Saudi Arabia. I will also stress, too, because I kind of bring up something interesting, how that strange bedfellows on Parler. I kind of agree but kind of disagree. I believe you'll find many Trump supporters saying, sure, whatever, censorship is wrong. If Saudi citizens want to express why they don't like the nationalist Saudi government, bring it on. And you know what I've found is that Trump supporters love to be in the presence of those who disagree with them. Seriously, more so than those who agree with them. It's really weird. The left wants to surround themselves by who support them, and the right wants to surround themselves with those who don't. I gotta say, I think that the Trump supporter strategy is way more effective in exposing your ideas to other people as opposed to the left going in their own bubble. Of course, there are certainly people on the left who are, operate in good faith, but I believe it's disproportionate. I have sat down as a liberal individual at the table with various groups of Trump supporters and conservatives, and we've had amazing conversations. And I think because I'm willing to sit with people who I disagree with, they actually get exposed to ideas they've never been exposed to before. So this is actually really amazing. For those users that are on Parler, you are now going to be exposed to a perspective that you weren't exposed to before. Because even though Twitter is big and does have Trump supporters and Saudi Arabian dissidents, you're not next to each other because the bubbles are huge. But on Parler, you're going to now see a lot more Saudi users, and assuming they will post in English, you'll see something you didn't consider before. It's going to make you all very, very, a lot smarter. This is the real diversity of opinion happening. Of course, how long until you think BuzzFeed and Gizmodo and et cetera, are going to call Parler far right, Gab Jr., whatever? It's really crazy, isn't it? The smears have come from Minds.com as well. That's MINDS.com, which is crazy because there were Vietnamese dissidents using the platform to fight against authoritarianism. So why then do we see the woke Twitterati trying to shut down these platforms and smear them? I don't know, but I will say it's really weird how Carlos Maza's campaign resulted in historians and teachers and activists getting banned from these platforms, but not Crowder, huh? It's almost like their intention is to remove those who are highlighting the extremists. Because invariably what happens? The censorship results in the dissidents and the activists getting censored. And here we have another story. Saudi activists angry with Twitter and moving to Parler. So for those that are listening on the podcast, it's spelled Parler, Parler. And I'm assuming it's pronounced parlay because it's the French word and it means to speak. But I'll leave it there. I want to highlight this because, listen, when we talk about arbitrary censorship on Twitter, the evidence is staggering. Okay, and here we have it. Special interest? Maybe. Stick around. I got more segments coming up one more segment coming up in a few moments, and I will see you shortly.